Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host with the biggest nose, Jay-Z Courtside, coming at y'all today on Martin Luther King Day, Monday, January 19th. I hope everybody's enjoying your day off. If you got it, if you don't got it, well, just know all of civilization appreciates you for putting the time in and working on such a great holiday in this country. I hope everybody had a great weekend. Hope everyone got to see their teams win a basketball game. If you were some of the teams that we're going to be talking about today, unfortunately, you did not see a win for your team. And if you guys do watch football, we had some good games over the weekend. We're not going to be talking about any of that because this is not a football podcast. Hopefully down the line, we can talk about more things, right, other than just basketball on the podcast. And I'm sure that will happen. The more usuals and non-casuals of the audio and video listeners will appreciate. Guys, in today's episode, we are going to be doing our usual on a Monday. We're going to be going over our winners and losers over the NBA weekend. Now, last week I did something different. When I was talking about the losers, I started with losers instead of winners. I usually start with winners and losers because I'm a positive guy. I'm a positive guy. I like talking about good things. You know, like if somebody were to say, would you like the good news or bad news? I'd like to go with the bad news first because I want to end the conversation on a high note. So that's what we're sort of doing in this podcast today, at least. We are going to be talking about the losers and then the winners. Okay. And as far as the segment afterwards, I couldn't come up with anything because we sort of did everything last week, right? We sort of went pretenders and contenders. We sort of went, true or false, or I think we did up or down. So maybe this week we'll roll with some factor cap. We'll roll with some other trade talk because the conversations are starting to heat up. But today we are going to go over the winners and losers of the NBA weekend. So, guys, TikTok, be sure to keep double tapping that screen. Spam that like button over there. YouTube, be sure to double tap that screen. Drop a like, subscribe. And Twitch chat, all you guys got to do is sit back, grab a cup of coffee, and enjoy the show. Podcast listeners, be sure not to forget to leave a 5-star rating and review. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into it and talk about the losers of the weekend. Up first, you guys already know who I'm about to talk about. It's the team that lost 8 of their last 10 games. They've dropped 3 games in a row, and in particular, the New York Knicks. The Knickerbockers. And they have not looked good. And I've talked about this team so much, and we're going to talk about them again today. They have lost 8 of their last 10 games, okay? This team, just so we're all clear, almost 3 weeks ago, they were 25-9. They were 25-9. I repeat, they were 25-9. Second seed in the East, a game behind the Pistons. And then the Knicks Muse Twitter account tweeted at the Pistons and said, on your left. And they were a game behind the Pistons. Ever since he posted that tweet, the Knicks Muse account on Twitter, the Knicks are now 2-10 in their last 10 games. Sorry, 2-8 in their last 10 games. They've lost 8 of their last 10 games. And they went from 25-9 or 23-9 to 25-17. I repeat, they were 23-9 and now they are 25-17, the New York Knicks. What's crazy about this, right, is the Knicks Muse account tweeted that they were on our left about the Pistons and they were a game behind them. And then all of a sudden, they are closer to the play-in than they are to the Pistons in the first seed. That's right. The Magic, sorry, Orlando fans, are in the play-in right now at the 7th seed. The Knicks only have a 2-game lead on the 7th seed. The 7th seed, a 2-game lead. But the Pistons, they are 6 games behind them. And even the Celtics, they're a game and a half behind them for the second. So they are closer to the play-in than they are to the number 1 seed in the East. New York. It's not looking good right now. It is not looking good right now. Now, we can talk about a lot of teams right now as far as losers of the weekend, because there were a lot of losers of the weekend, right? People are telling me, oh, it's because Jalen Brunson was hurt. No, this was happening with Jalen Brunson, ladies and gents. This was happening with Jalen Brunson. You're forgetting this. Jalen Brunson was here through almost all of these losses. And as far as the basketball team goes, as far as a championship contending team goes in 2026, you can't win with one player. One player is not what separates a championship team to an almost play-in team. That's not what happens. I see some people ask about the Blazers. We will be talking about them today, so be sure to stick around. The Knicks right now, right? To win a championship, right? You can't have this dramatic of a fall off, right? The Thunder can win without Shea. The Pistons can win without Cade. A lot of teams can win without their best player in 2026. This is not 2012 anymore, ladies and gents. 2012, LeBron's missing? Sure. You could, not 2012. Okay, 2010, because he was on the Heat. 2010, if LeBron's missing, sure, you can lose. 2011, Dwight Howard's missing? That's fine, you could lose. 2012, Kobe's missing? That's fine, you can lose. That is not basketball anymore. That is not the NBA anymore. The Celtics are winning all without Tatum because they have a secondary star in Jaylen Brown. The Pistons have been winning without Cade because the team is all around built well. The Oklahoma City Thunder won it all last year because of how deep they were. The Celtics, the Nuggets, all of these teams who won these years previous can win without their superstar because teams need to be deep, not star-studded. And with the New York Knicks right now, Jalen Brunson is not the level of peak LeBron. Jalen Brunson is not the level of peak Kobe. He's not those level, and that's okay. Jalen Brunson's a great basketball player on one side of the court. I'm not saying they should be able to win a championship without their star. I'm not saying that. But without their star, they're arguably one of the worst teams in basketball, and that's the difference, guys. That's the difference. I'm not saying the Pistons can win it all without Cade. No way. I'm not saying the Thunder can win it all without Shea. No way. But what I am saying is you cannot be dropping games to the Phoenix Suns, to the Golden State Warriors without your best player, especially the Warriors. For TikTok chat that's saying bad takes, that's fine. You guys are Knicks fans, and I understand you can't handle critique about your basketball team. I can handle critiques about my basketball team. My issue with the New York Knicks is they should not be this bad without Jalen Brunson. Not this bad. And even with Jalen Brunson, they were losing these games. They lost to the Kings with Brunson. They lost to the Suns with Brunson. They lost to the Pistons with Brunson by 31. They lost to the 76ers with Brunson. They lost to the Hawks with Brunson. They lost to the Spurs with Brunson. My point being is people saying we don't have Brunson. You should not be losing these games. And now TikTok is telling me, sorry guys, I promise I'm not getting sidetracked, but thank you for reminding me. TikTok is now saying, we didn't have Josh Hart. Oh, right. Sorry, forgive me. I forgot Josh Hart. I forgot Josh Hart is a 10-time All-Star, 10-time MVP. Sorry. Josh Hart is equivalent to Tobias Harris for the Pistons. Good vet with good defense and good offensive consistency. The Pistons are 11-1 without Tobias Harris, but the Knicks lost every game but one without Josh Hart. My apologies, Knicks fans. This is what we call copium. This is what we call coping. Josh Hart's a good player. Yes, he is not going to be the deciding factor of whether or not you go 2-8 in your last 10 games. That is what we call coping, ladies and gentlemen. So, I got to continue my talk about this team. I have Knicks fans on my Twitch stream that are all super intellectual. So, Knicks fans, if you guys think that you're intelligent, be sure to swing on into the Twitch stream because, yeah, the rest of the TikTok crowd is making y'all look like idiots, okay? So, I got to keep talking about this team, right? Because I haven't gotten it all out yet. The absolute biggest aspect that nobody is talking about with the New York Knicks right now is that since Christmas, guys, that's almost a month ago. So, this isn't just a cold stretch into the season. This is almost a month. A month. A month is a long time in the basketball world. For the last month, they have the second worst defensive rating in the entire NBA. 30 NBA teams. And you're telling me a month they have the second worst defensive rating? You know who the worst is? The Utah Jazz. We all clown the Jazz because they don't play defense. They strictly do not play defense. And the New York Knicks are, sorry, I got to put this in quotes, championship contenders. And yet the New York Knicks have a worse defensive rating than the Lakers? Are we serious? The Lakers, who we all talk about having the worst defense of all time, they have a worse defensive rating than the Lakers since Christmas. Second worst defensive rating in the NBA since Christmas. That's almost a month, ladies and gentlemen. I can guarantee you one thing. No matter how good your offense is, if your defense is that bad, you're not making it out of the first round. And I talked about this last week, and my Rockets fan in the Twitch chat just reminded me. Mob said, Cat can't hide behind Rudy anymore, and that's true. Now, I want to read what Sean said in the Twitch stream. He said, it's weird because our team hasn't changed that much since last year, so I'm confused. We've won a lot of games last season without Brunson. You have. I think you guys were 12-6 without Brunson last year. So that's my difference that I'm trying to mention. That's what I'm trying to talk about in regards to this team. Yeah, Deuce is also a very weird player base. He's 6'2", plays like he's 6'5", 3-and-D player, but can't blow by anybody. Super slow. He goes and steps back in the mid-range almost every time. That's what he does. Scavvy said, I'm a Lakers fan, and it's pretty bad to have a worse defense than these. It is. It is. Now, I low-key do want to talk about Karl Anthony Towns, because I've been talking about Karl Anthony Towns a lot this year. People telling me it's not, oh, he's not that bad. Guys, stop looking at his averages and start looking at his percentages and his tendencies as well. He's shooting his lowest three-point percentage since his rookie year in the NBA. He's also shooting his worst field goal percentage in his entire career. So two of his worst percentages ever. He's shooting 46% from the field and 35% from three. Those both. The three-point percentage is the worst three-point percentage he's had since his rookie year. His field goal percentage is his worst percentage ever. In his entire NBA career, his worst. And I don't want to call him Karl Anthony Towns anymore. I said last week that I'd be calling him Carl until further notice, right? I have a Pacers fan in the Twitch stream, Solo, and he said, I'm a Pacers fan, and being behind us in any stat right now is bad. I agree. And that's the thing. You got to watch these games, man. You got to watch these games. Because when I watch the New York Knicks, to be honest, they don't look like the team of last year. And part of the reason could be is they don't have Tibbs, but I'm not willing to blame Mike Brown. I'm not willing to say this is all on Mike Brown. Mike Brown was supposed to come in and move that ball around. Have you guys noticed that Jalen Brunson's usage hasn't really dropped all? Not that much. His usage hasn't dropped as much as we thought. And then on top of all of that, guys, Jalen Brunson hurt his ankle again. His ankle. This is going to be a nagging injury for the next couple months. Now, I've always talked about Tom Thibodeau, and I want to talk about him right now because somebody in the TikTok said, who's the better coach between the two? I'll be honest. Tom Thibodeau can make a bad team good, but he can't make a good team great. Okay? Mike Brown can utilize everybody on the court. And to an extent, he's been doing that. It's not his fault that they're not making their shots. I can't tell you how many wide open threes I'm watching this team miss. Tom Thibodeau, again, I got to say it for those of you in the back that didn't hear. Tom Thibodeau can make a bad team good, but he cannot make a good team great. And that's been Tom Thibodeau's whole strategic prowess as an NBA head coach. And that's why I believe he's good at making a mediocre team good, but if you can't win it all, then what's the point? Now, if you're a Bulls fan, if you're a Kings fan, that sounds great because Mike Brown can genuinely turn y'all into a playoff team. Will you flame out in the first round? Probably, because everyone's gassed. And I'll be honest, y'all. When I'm watching this team, Knicks fans, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. We got a lot of Knicks fans in here. Don't they look exhausted? And I'm not going to listen to any takes about the NBA Cup made everybody tired. No. I mean, don't they look exhausted? like the way they're playing, they're not sprinting down the court. They don't look like they're trying. Do they not look tired? It's either tired or bored. You tell me what you think it is. TikTok said when it matters, they're going to come through. Well, it's mattered for the last month. And it hasn't came through. It does matter right now. For anybody that's telling me this does not matter, basketball does not matter now, they have dropped from the 2nd seed to the 3rd, and now they are closer to falling into the play-in than they are taking the 1st seed. So it's serious right now. This is serious. I understand that's not the playoffs, but this is serious. They look lost. They don't look like they're trying. This has been a month. I can understand if it's a week, but this is a month long. This is a month of being the 2nd worst defense in the entire NBA. You're approaching February. It's almost time. What people need to understand is the All-Star break is meant to give these teams a break. That's what it's meant to do. So the best time to catch a streak going is right before the All-Star break. I'll paint you a picture. It was the Minnesota Timberwolves last season, and they ended up they finished the season 18-2 last year. 18-2. They locked in when it mattered right before the All-Star break. They went 18-2. That's the perfect time. So they need to start winning now. We're approaching February. And then on top of that, I believe the New York Knicks schedule right now, they should have been winning these games because I'm pretty confident. I am pretty confident that their schedule ramps up. I want to confirm this before I start spreading lies around, but I'm pretty confident it ramps up. So they're still in the stretch where they should win. Look how easy the schedule is. Mavericks tonight, win. Nets, that's a win. 76ers, probably a win. They're probably a win. Kings, that should be a win. Raptors, that should be a win. Trailblazers, that should be a win. This is easy. This is easy. And then I believe, so Lakers, that should be easy. Lakers suck, but they have a better defense than the Knicks right now. Wizards, they suck. And then here we go. Let's talk about this stretch right here. Nuggets, Pistons, Celtics, yikes. Pacers, you get a little bit of a break. 76ers, you got to try a little bit. Pistons again. Rockets, Bulls, a little bit of a break. Cavs, Bucks, Giannis is never easy to stop, but the team sucks. Spurs, Raptors, Thunder, Nuggets, Lakers, Clippers, Jazz, Pacers. Warriors, Pacers. Grizzlies, Nets, Wizards, Pelicans, Hornets, Thunder, Rockets, Bulls, Hawks, Celtics, Raptors, Hornets. So their team looks rather difficult. Their schedule looks rather difficult. It's got some difficult stretches in there. My point being is they've had the worst month in basketball. They've had the worst month in basketball. The worst. It's not even debatable. It's not even debatable that they've had the worst month in basketball. Brennan, thank you for following the Twitch stream. I appreciate it very, very much. Shout out to you for leaving the TikTok and coming through to the Twitch stream. You're a smart guy, man. You're a smart guy for leaving the TikTok and coming through to the Twitch. Now, my final point on this team is a lot of people here are really pointing the fingers at Karl Anthony Towns. And while that's unfortunate, I got to remind y'all, Karl Anthony Towns isn't the only player on this team that's getting paid. You know what I'm saying? He's not the only one that's getting paid. The Knicks are second right now in payroll. Second in payroll to the Cavs. I got to show y'all these contracts, man, because a lot of y'all are just misunderstood. OG Anunoby is making $42 million next year. Karl Anthony Towns is making $57 million. $57 million. Brunson is making $40 million. Mikal Bridges, who you traded your entire future for, 5 first-round picks, and he's getting $33 million, and it only increases. So when I tell y'all, with a core like this, and you guys are trying to tell me that Josh Hart is the reason that you guys lost those games, when anybody that tells me that we're missing Josh Hart, that's why we lost. Bro, you're paying $40 million to a guy that only plays offense. You're paying $42 million for a guy that only shoots threes and plays defense. And he hasn't even playing defense this well this year. You guys are paying $57 million to a guy that isn't doing anything. And then you're telling me because we're missing Josh Hart, who's making $20 million, that's the reason we're losing? It's unbelievable. Now, I love OG Anunoby, and I always praise OG Anunoby more than the next guy. This season has not been OG Anunoby. And if this is OG Anunoby, you guys are in trouble. You guys are in trouble. If this year is OG Anunoby, he's already fallen off. Genuinely, he is not he is not a $45 million player right now. Not this year. So I got to say, Knicks fans, you have to win this year. You have to win this year. So if you're looking at yourselves in the mirror and you say, it's okay that we're playing this poorly, that's fine. It's okay that we just had the worst month in this NBA season. That's okay. You guys have to win this year. You have to win this year. Otherwise, you are screwed. I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on to the next loser. But I got to read this comment. And he's not being ironic. He's being honest. This is why we don't take the TikTok chat serious. So TikTok, if you guys do enjoy the stream, this is your last chance. Be sure to swing on into the Twitch stream. I was talking about OG Anunoby, and this man said, but in the NBA Cup, did he look like a $45 million player when this shit mattered? Let's all point and laugh. Let's all point and laugh, and then let's move on. You're right, man. OG Anunoby looked great in the NBA Cup. You're leaving here with something. You're leaving here with something. Let's move on to our next loser, and this is a bit of a group. We got the Cavs, the Rockets, and the Thunder. Now, you guys might be wondering, Jay-Z, why are the Cavs in this? They've won their last 3 out of their 4 games. They're on fire. Jay-Z, why are the Rockets in there? They've won 3 out of their last 4 games. Jay-Z, why are the Thunder in there? They've won 3 out of the last 4 games. Well, the Cleveland Cavaliers lost Darius Garland. They lost Garland again to another foot injury. And here's what Cavs fans are confusing. Cavs fans are saying, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. It's his other foot. It's not the foot that he hurt in the summer and he had surgery on. It's the other foot. And I'm here to tell you, that's worse. Now he's got 2 bad feet. He's got 2 bad feet instead of 1. Tell me how. Tell me how that's better than it was his other foot. That is not better. That's worse. Now he's got 2 bad feet. So Darius Garland's out. We don't know how long yet. Then the Houston Rockets, Steven Adams, their identity, the guy that's somewhat been their bruiser this year. He's also out, and we don't have a diagnosis yet, but it was a knee injury, and I hope Steven Adams is okay, because the Rockets at that point, they're going to be missing 6 points per game, which may not seem like a lot, but they're going to be missing 9 rebounds, 1.5 assists, great shooting percentage. They're going to be missing their backbone of this team. Is Şengün going to have to play center now? Are they going to have to move Şengün to the center? And then the Oklahoma City Thunder. Why are they losers? They just lost J-Dub. And some fans on Twitter will tell you, shouldn't they be winners of the weekend then? I think that's very unfair. I think that's very, very, very unfair to say about the Thunder that that's technically a win. Listen, y'all. J-Dub is out indefinitely right now. They just announced that. He is out indefinitely. Now, J-Dub's been having a horrible year. He's been shooting 30% from 3, his worst ever. And he's been shooting 47% from field. But anybody that's telling me that that's a win, they're not a real Thunder fan. Because while you guys were technically playing better without J-Dub, without this guy, you're not winning this year. And he's out indefinitely right now with a hamstring injury. My guess is he probably will come back in March. Probably. This is the same guy that scored 40 points in a finals game. I understand everybody says next man up, but they are not winning in a title without J-Dub. They need this guy. If they don't have him, they're not winning. So those all three are losers because it gets a little deeper than all of that. The Rockets right now are clinging to a playoff spot. They're a game away from falling into the play-in. J-Dub has a hamstring injury. He's out indefinitely. The Rockets right now are a game in the play-in. A game from falling into the play-in, okay? The Cavs, they're half a game from falling into the play-in. The Thunder are fine, but they're not winning a title without J-Dub. They're not. Rockets are in danger right now without Steven Adams. Anybody that's telling me Clint Capella is not bringing what Steven Adams is bringing onto the court in 2026, my apologies. Just losing Steven Adams is a big hit. Hopefully he's fine. Cavs, though? Yeah, they're a game away. They are technically a game and a half away from the 3rd seed, but they're also half a game from the 7th seed. And I don't like this argument about the East is weak or the East is horrendous. I don't like this. There's a stat. I don't like when people say that. Versus Western Conference. Give me 1 second. Stats NBA. I don't like this argument. Here it is. So this season, so far, the East is 302 and 326 against the West. Okay? So it's not that crazy. It's not that crazy. The West only has 20 more wins against the East. It's not that crazy. Okay? Now, something I love pointing out is that both conferences are very top heavy, right? You have the Thunder leading and then the Pistons leading. And then it's just a shit show all throughout, is it not? It is just a shit show all throughout. That's why I think the play-in is great. I think that's why the play-in is great. Because, like, here's the thing. If you were to take any of these teams in the East versus any of these teams in the West, obviously the West is winning. Obviously. But then it gets very convoluted when you start looking at, like, seed 3 through seed 7 in the West versus seed 3 versus seed 7 in the West. Like, I'm not taking the Magic beating the Nuggets, you know? I'm not taking the but then if you compare seed to seed, it somewhat makes sense. Trust me. Let me just show you guys a picture. Let's look at starting with the 10th seed. Hawks, Grizzlies. It's a toss-up. Toss-up. I don't know who would win that. Bulls versus Trailblazers. Toss-up. Heat versus Warriors. Fucking toss-up if I've ever seen a toss-up. Magic versus Suns. That's close. Another toss-up. 76ers versus Lakers. I'm taking the Lakers just because stars. Cavs versus Rockets. I'll probably take the Rockets. Raptors versus T-Wolves. I'll take T-Wolves. Knicks versus Nuggets. Nuggets. Celtics versus Spurs. That's tough. I'll go Spurs just because there's no bigs. I'm Boston. And then Pistons versus Thunder. Y'all already know who I'm rolling with. So yeah, as far as seeding goes, East might be weaker. But as far as head-to-head matchups, it's tough. It's very tough. Let's move on to our final loser of the weekend. Our next loser of the weekend is the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, this is a literal loser. Like this, I'm being honest, literal loser. I'm not saying I'm not going to talk about in-depth details as to why the Timberwolves are crumbling. No, they were missing Anthony Edwards against the Rockets and they lost. And then they were missing Rudy Gobert against the Spurs and lost. And Anthony Edwards dropped 55 points. Okay. So this isn't like, I'm not going to just start bullshitting and say, oh, the Timberwolves are in trouble. No, they're fine. They're no longer the hottest team since Christmas, but they're fine. They are the literal loser of the weekend. They lost both their games and that's okay. That's okay. It was tough competition and they were missing a lot of people. All right, that's okay. That's A-okay. Guys, that's all I got for losers. I really don't have much else to talk about, but we do have to move on to our winners. Because there were, for once, last weekend, there were way more losers than winners. But this weekend, there really weren't many losers. You know what I'm saying? There weren't many losers. Last weekend, it was the complete opposite. TikTok, if you guys are enjoying the show, I am ending that stream over there. So be sure to swing on into the Twitch stream right now. That's Jay-Z Uncut on Twitch. The link is in my bio. Last chance to come through to the Twitch, guys. Okay, let's continue with the NBA winners of the weekend, guys. I'm just restarting the TikTok stream. So, my first winner of the weekend is the San Antonio Spurs. San Antonio Spurs. Let's talk about them, man. They had a good win against Minnesota. They were missing Rudy Gobert, but that's okay. I don't think Rudy Gobert is the defensive presence that they need against Victor Wembanyama anyways. Even though Wemby did drop 39, and then they also beat the Milwaukee Bucks on Thursday. Now, these are good wins. These are good wins. And I'll tell you why they're so important, okay? The reason why this game is so important is because De'Aaron Fox is starting to click. 25 points against the Timberwolves. You Spurs fans have no idea how much you need that. He also had 18 against the Bucks, but he was super efficient. 18.6 for 10. So shaved Wemby is looking very good. And I've talked about it multiple times. Their X factor of this team is Keldon Johnson. When Keldon Johnson's having one of those games, man, just hang it up. You're not going to win. When Keldon Johnson is having that type of game where he's shooting efficiently and he's confident as well, hang it up. Hang it up. Because Keldon Johnson is the X factor of this team. The real X factor should be De'Aaron Fox. Because when De'Aaron Fox is solid, they're going to need that, guys. In the playoffs, they have no playoff experience other than a couple players like Luke Cornett, De'Aaron Fox, and Harrison Barnes from 10 years ago, back when Fetty Wap was still dropping banger after banger. So I don't want to hear that Harrison Barnes has prolific playoff experience, okay? I love Keldon Johnson. I've liked this guy since last year. He's really, really good. But again, my thing is the Spurs will only go as far, not as when Wembanyama takes them, but they will only go as far as their point guard will take them in De'Aaron Fox. Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, they're not going to be the main objectives here. If anything, they're just going to be decoys. You need the work from De'Aaron Fox for this team to win a series into the playoffs. Genuinely, that's my biggest concern. Because if you put the Spurs against most teams in the West, the Rockets, I'm taking the Rockets against them. Straight up. And what's scary is that, like, you could convince yourself that you could take the Lakers out of that just because of the pure offensive flow. But the defense is what would save the San Antonio Spurs. The only thing I could knock against the Spurs is that they don't have that shooting prowess yet. They can't shoot and they don't have experience. See, now that's like, I think I love comparing, right? I love comparing the Spurs to the Pistons, right? Because their rebuilds somewhat align. The Spurs can't shoot and they have no experience. The Pistons can't shoot, but they got the best experience against arguably one of the best teams in the East of last year. I think what's very similar about both these teams is that they both have a superstar, right? One is an alien, one is America, right? He's American born. And it's quite interesting because a lot of people don't want to favor either of these teams, right? So when you look at players like I'll just name one, like Champagnie, right? If he's not shooting well, you're not going to win a playoff series. If Harrison Barnes remains in this slump, you're not going to win a series. If Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper are not producing anything efficiently, you're not going to win that series. I'm not going to lie. Players like Kelly Olynyk might see some playoff time because at least he has experience. And that's going to be the Spurs' biggest issue going into the playoffs. It's just looking at somebody that is confident in these games. Because I tell y'all what, man, the playoffs basketball is so different. Playoffs basketball is so different, bro. Like, I've been watching the Pistons for a long, long time. And seeing them play in the playoffs, it was so different. The intensity was insane. It was suffocating. You're getting picked up from 90 feet out. Pistons do that anyways. But now you're looking at like OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges hunt your point guard all game. It was exhausting. It was tiring. It was nauseating to watch. So I think the Spurs, it's going to be very important for De'Aaron Fox to go crazy in that first round series. I've been talking about it a lot, but De'Aaron Fox is going to be the most crucial component if this team wants to succeed. So the fact that he did that over the weekend, it's a good sign for all the Spurs fans out there. It's a very good sign. I know everybody wants to just trade De'Aaron Fox so that you can allow Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle to grow and evolve. Trust me, you do not want to do that. You do not want to do that. You don't. You're going to need Fox come playoff time because Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper, I'm going to be honest, you're going to start seeing a lot of different discourse happen. I hate this take as well. This guy in the Twitch stream, believe it or not, said Kelly's going to hurt someone really bad. That's all he's good for. Remember what he did to Kevin Love? People love talking about that. In fact, I mentioned that in my latest documentary. I made a video about what happened to the 14 players that were drafted before Giannis Antetokounmpo. And Kelly Olynyk is one of those players that got drafted. And I said, whenever someone talks about Kelly Olynyk, they only refer to the injury he did on Kevin Love 12 years ago. They love bringing that up. They love bringing that up. Kelly Olynyk is a stretch four, and he is still viable in today's NBA. That's the only reason he's still been around. Now, they said it in the TikTok as well. I'm not a fan of Kelly Olynyk. He was on my Pistons. I'm not a fan of him, but he's been a solid role player his entire career. In fact, he was excellent in his days in Miami. And he said it again, bro, but he loves to hurt people intentionally. Say I'm lying. He dirty AF. I'm not going to argue with this. He did one bad thing. Show me another time where he intentionally injured somebody. And I'll be honest, watching players hook each other's arms, like Karl Anthony Towns, he's dirty as well then, because he always grabs somebody's arm. The only difference is he didn't do that afterwards. That's it. You don't have to like Kelly Olynyk. In fact, I have a fun fact about Kelly Olynyk. Did you guys know he got married in a hat? He was wearing a hat. He was literally wearing a backwards hat for his wedding. I wish I were kidding. I am being so for real right now. Check that out. He wore his hat in his wedding photos. Kelly Olynyk's a dog, man. He's a dog. I may not like him as a basketball player. Seems like a cool-ass dude. There's a reason he's still in the NBA. Anyways. I don't care that much about Kelly Olynyk. So for Mr. Zyfex, he said he's Draymond Green before Draymond Green became a thing. No, buddy. Draymond Green is the descendant of Dennis Rodman, of Bill Laimbeer, of Patrick Ewing, of Kevin McHale, of Robert Parrish. So don't go. And then you have new gen players like Zaza Pachulia, Cole Anthony, Kelly Olynyk, Draymond Green. It's these players who hurt one person and then they are labeled that for their entire career. Zaza Pachulia is a dirty guy. Kelly Olynyk is a dirty guy. Right. Anyways, I'm going to move on. I did not expect, Pat Beverly. I didn't expect in a podcast in 2026 to be arguing about Kelly Olynyk. Yet here we are. I don't think I'll ever say Kelly Olynyk ever again. I don't care if you tag me on TikTok. Nobody cares about TikTok. And nobody cares about Kelly Olynyk. Let's continue with my winners of the weekend. Let's talk about the Beantown Boys. The Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics got it done. They got a good win on Saturday. It was a blowout against the Atlanta Hawks. And then, of course, the Miami Heat last Thursday. It was a 20-point comeback. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. Not if you were a Miami Heat fan. I apologize. The Boston Celtics right now are clicking. They're clicking, y'all. They have won 7 out of their last 10 games. 7 out of their last 10 games. And I'm going to say it. I'm going to say what all Celtics fans say right now. And we don't even have Tatum. I'm not even saying that as a joke, guys. That is terrifying. This team does not have Tatum. They don't have Tatum. The fun thing about the Boston Celtics is who they play against tonight. Now, we can go over this for a long time. We can talk about it. Going into tonight leads me into another winner I have over the weekend, the Detroit Pistons. And they also smacked the Indiana Pacers over the weekend. So both these teams, Pistons and Celtics, are coming off of a blowout. So I assure y'all, tonight is going to be one ugly, disgusting game. If I've ever been confident in anything, I know my Pistons. I know the Celtics. Tonight is going to be ugly. Ugly. Both coming off of 40, 30-point blowouts. The Pistons are going to allow 23s in a game. Here's the thing about my Pistons. If they can limit the Celtics to under 23s tonight, the Pistons win. If the Celtics get 20 plus threes, it's over. Just end the game before. They had 22 threes against the Hawks. They shot 42% from three. Against the Heat, they had 13. So if they can get a game in between that, if they can give up 15 threes tonight, I like the Pistons odds. If they go for 20, GG's, hang it up. It's over tonight. It's over. So, just to preview tonight's game, because I feel like this is the best time to do so. I'm going to say some things for all my Celtics and Pistons fans out here, and I want you guys to understand how much ball I truly know, okay? The Pistons and Celtics are 1-1 right now in the series. They are 1-1 in this series. So for everybody saying in the TikTok, Pistons way better. Pistons going to blow them out. I'd like to tell you, as a Pistons fan, this isn't, you guys need to relax. You guys need to calm down, okay? The series is tied 1-1 right now. 1-1. Okay? First game, Pistons look dominant. The second game, however, the Boston Celtics did something that is the reason I don't like versing the Boston Celtics. Get ready. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, you are going to see Jaylen Brown, Peyton Pritchard, and Derek White all target Duncan Robinson. Get ready. Every single play, you're going to see them set a fake screen just to get Duncan Robinson on Jaylen Brown, Duncan Robinson on Derek White, Duncan Robinson on Peyton Pritchard, Duncan Robinson on Anthony Simons. That's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. So, somebody told me that the Pistons lead 2-1. I thought we only play the Celtics 3 times. Oh, they are 2-1. Am I dumb? Hold on. It was October 26th. We beat them. Then they beat us. Oh, I forgot about this game. That's right. Yeah, I was raging during this one. And the game that we lost here is they scored a collective. 78 points on Duncan Robinson last time we played the Celtics. I need you guys to hear me one more time. The Boston Celtics scored 78 points on Duncan Robinson in the loss. I just need you guys to understand that. You scored 78 points on one player. The last time we played them, they scored 68 points on Duncan Robinson. So, if they have a strategy, that's their strategy. I'm 100% serious. In the last 2 matchups, the Pistons versus Celtics, they are averaging 72 points scored on one player of the Pistons. And people are telling me it's a team game. That's what you need to understand. The Boston Celtics have one goal, and it's to target the weakest defender on that team. And that is unfortunately Duncan Robinson. So something you're going to notice is that Asar Thompson and Ron Holland are going to be blitzing above those screens. They're going to try their hardest to not allow that switch. Unfortunately, the Boston Celtics have guards that set those screens, so it's hard to force those to not screen. Anthony, I'll be responding to that comment here shortly. What else are you going to see tonight? Ladies and gents, you are going to see one of 2 things. You are going to see Jalen Duren ruin his case at being an all-star, or you are going to see Jalen Duren absolutely body slam the entire Boston Celtics team. One of 2 things are going to happen, because in so far, multiple games of the matchup between the Pistons and the Celtics, the Boston Celtics were not allowing Jalen Duren to drive to the rim. The Boston Celtics were cutting him off at the free throw line, which means they were forcing Jalen Duren to put the ball on the floor. That is exactly what the Boston Celtics want Duren to do, and that's why he had so many turnovers in the last couple matchups against the Boston Celtics. Jalen Duren, you would think, is like this prolific monster that can just beat all the teams that don't have great centers. But the moment you force him to put the ball on the floor and those hands start reaching, it gets scary for Jalen Duren. It gets very, very scary. Now, the Pistons might be without Tobias Harris. He tweaked his leg in the blowout win against the Pacers. And that would suck for the Pistons. But I want Isaiah Stewart to start against the Boston Celtics. The Pistons are undefeated when Isaiah Stewart starts next to Jalen Duren. I believe we are 12-0 when Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren are starting. So hopefully that will happen soon come playoff time. But it's going to be a really good game tonight. I'm fully expecting the Boston Celtics to absolutely shoot lights out. As long as you can hold them below 23s, I like the Pistons odds at winning that game. I like the odds. And it's it'll be very, very interesting to see how the refs officiate this game, because it's going to be dirty. It's going to be dirty. It's going to be gritty. It's going to be one aggressive ass game. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So, go Pistons. But anyways, yeah, the Boston Celtics and Pistons are both winners of the weekend, just to lightly say that. Lightly say that. I saw a question from Anthony. He's a Knicks fan in the Twitch. He said, are you more worried about the Celtics or the Knicks in the playoffs? See, that's such a loaded question. I appreciate you asking me that, Anthony, but that's a very loaded question, because right now teams can survive against the Celtics because they can afford to leave a Hugo Gonzalez open. They can afford to leave a Jordan Walsh open. They can afford to leave Sam Hauser on most nights open. If Jason Tatum comes back and just gives a third of his effort, you can't leave Jason Tatum open in the corner. Jaylen Brown's still going to be the number one. He's still going to be the number one when Tatum comes back. They're not going to rush Tatum back and automatically throttle him to be their number one again. But if Tatum is inside, if he's in that corner in place of a Sam Hauser or in place of a Jordan Walsh or Hugo Gonzalez, that's scary. Now, to answer your question on whether who I would prefer to verse, me personally, I think I would rather verse the New York Knicks. The Boston Celtics three-point shooting can't be contained. It can't. And I think the Boston Celtics would shoot the lights out against the Pistons in a 7-game series. I understand that the Knicks beat the Pistons last year in 6 games, but I'd like to think that the Pistons learned from their flaws, learned from their mistakes, and have just doubled down on, yeah, we're stronger than you. We're more physical than you. We're going to out-rebound you. We're going to out-defend you. And especially with how the Knicks look like today, I have to look at how they look like today. Yeah, give me the Knicks. Let's move on to our final winner of the weekend, y'all. And that is the Portland Trailblazers, a team I don't talk about often. They've won 3 straight, and 2 of those were without Denny Avdia. The Portland Trailblazers have, I mean, they're sort of on fire right now, if you want my honest opinion. They have won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. They've won 10 of their last 13. 8 of their last 10, but they've lost 10 of their last 13 games. And part of the reason is Caleb Love. Drew Holiday came back and they started playing crazy. Caleb Love is blossoming before our very eyes. And I think what you're going to see, I think Toumani Camara is going to get traded here pretty soon. I think he's going to be on their targets to trade, not like guarantee, but while he has value, I think it's clear that this team is moving towards the guards of a Caleb Love, Shaedon Sharpe. They already locked him down, and Denny Avdia, even Sissoko, bro. I love Sissoko. And they're also waiting for Damian Lillard to come back. I mean, this dude Kamara shot 7 for 7 last night. I've never seen that before. Never seen that. Last night, Denny Avdia only had 8 free throws. And I don't know what the hell happened to Scoot Henderson, but he lost his job. He lost his job. Caleb Love snatched that thing. TikTok, if you guys are enjoying the stream, be sure to swing on into the Twitch stream. You would enjoy it so much more than the lame-ass TikTok. Come through to the Twitch stream. Come through. Okay? Mark, Coco, God's Will, Sentinus, Alex, Carl, all of you guys, come through to the Twitch stream. We'd love to have y'all. Link in my bio. Jay-Z Uncut on Twitch. I hope to see you guys come through. So, I will say, though, I think the Blazers are going to stay a play-in team. I think they will be. They're not good enough to make it into the playoffs. They're 22-22, but I think that they will. I think they will stay in the play-in, and whether or not they can make it out, here's the thing. They're not beating the Warriors if they're against them in the play-in. They're not beating the Suns if they're against them in the play-in. They can beat the Grizzlies, right? So I guess we'll see what happens, whether they're the 7th or 8th seed or the 9th or 10th seed. But, yeah, I like watching Portland play. Other than Denny Avdia, I really like their team. What I will say, though, people are not talking as much as they really should be about Shaedon Sharpe's improvement. I know he's sort of really inconsistent, and you never really want that in a guard. He's shooting 45% from the field and 33% from three. That's not good, especially on the amount of shots that he's attempting per game right now. He is attempting 6 threes a night. And another unsung hero that they had was Jeremy Grant. Say what you will, I know his contract sucks, and I know all that. I understand that. But the Portland Trailblazers have a really good young core, and they could look scary in the future. I'm not sure about their draft picks. And as far as, like, the Blazers, I've always rooted for the Blazers. I've always rooted for them. And I hope they can succeed. Because I think Portland's fan base, they show up and show out. They love their team, even during the regular season, even during their shitty regular seasons. They come out and show love to their team, man. I really do enjoy the Portland Trailblazers. And not just that, I love their commentators. I think Portland's just a great franchise, and I think they've been put through the ringer. And I hope that they can have some success their way. And do we have any Portland fans in the building? None. We do not have any Portland Trailblazers fans in my community, man. None. Not a single damn one. Detour, thanks for the follow on Twitch. I appreciate it, man. Shout out to you for leaving the TikTok stream and coming through to the Twitch. I appreciate it very much. Hopefully one day we can get one Blazers fan in my community. I just need one Blazers fan in my community. Anybody? TikTok. There's 45 of you motherfuckers over there. Tell me we got one Blazers fan. Tell me. And if we do, come into the Twitch stream. I need a Blazers fan in here. Alamo, thanks for the follow on Twitch. I appreciate you, man. I need a hardcore Blazers fan, ride or die, been rooting for them since Rudy Fernandez and Brandon Roy. I need one, man. I need one. I need one. We don't have any. We don't have any. We don't have any. And then I want to give a small winner of the weekend to the Charlotte Hornets as well. Shout out them Hornets, man. They're a fun team. And they're almost in the play-in. They are wow, they're not really almost into the play-in. They're still three. Is that 3.5 games back? They are still 3.5 games out of the play-in. Damn. They win those big games, but they lose all the other games. That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh my God, JLC. What kind of comment is that? Alamo, Detour, and Truly Brennan, thank you guys for the follows on Twitch. I would love for more of you guys to come through to the Twitch stream, TikTok. Be sure to leave that stream and come through to the Twitch stream. Yeah, shout out to the Hornets, man. Con Knips is playing well. LaMelo's playing well in the games. I mean, some of the games. Brandon Miller in the games that he plays, they win too. Yeah, I'm happy for the Hornets. I'm happy for them. All I want right now is a Blazers fan to join the Twitch stream. And I don't think we will never get one. We will never get one. Never. We are live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern, PJ. I appreciate you tuning in. If you want to catch all the streams live, be sure to join the Twitch stream. That's Jay-Z Uncut on Twitch. I'm getting asked right before we end the podcast by Coco, what do you think about the Grizzlies and the Ja situation? Coco, I saw you ask that in a TikTok. Don't go to the TikTok. Go to the Twitch stream, okay? All right? So I appreciate you being here. The Grizzlies and the Ja situation, I think the same thing that everybody else thinks. Ja's gonna get traded. And the Grizzlies suck. Yeah, that's my honest opinion. I think this is a very important thing that I'm going to say, and I want everybody to listen up because I'm about to tell y'all the future, okay? I'm about to tell y'all the future. You ready? When Ja Morant gets traded, I'm just going to use the Miami Heat as an example, okay? I'm just going to use the Miami Heat as an example. So please lock in and don't get offended. Let's say the Grizzlies trade Ja Morant for Tyler Hero, okay? Contracts match up, that's fine, okay? Let's say they trade for Tyler Hero. They get Tyler Hero in return, right? That means they have a team of Ty Jerome, Jaren Jackson Jr., Zach Edey, Tyler Hero, Cedric Coward. Okay, they got those players. Okay? That means they are going to continue their trajectory rebuild. They are going to continue what they're doing, except now with Tyler Hero instead of Ja Morant. So that means they are going to keep Jaren Jackson Jr. They're going to do all of that. Now let's use a different example, okay? Let's use a different example. If they trade Ja for a Trae Young package, meaning if they get Simone Fontecchio, Terry Rozier's contract, and somebody else, Davion Mitchell. Davion Mitchell, Terry Rozier's contract, and Simone Fontecchio for Ja Morant, because it equals. And that is another trade possibility that they were considering. If they do that, then expect Jaren Jackson Jr. to get traded the very next day. I'm telling you that the guy's the future. I'm telling you guys their blueprint. I have insiders now, so I'm telling you, my sources tell me that if they trade for a Tyler Hero for Ja Morant, they're going to continue their current trajectory with Jaren Jackson Jr. If they accept expiring contracts and Terry Rozier, then they are rebuilding, and Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to get traded as well. So that's the honest truth. That's what's going to happen. That's my honest opinion on Ja Morant and the Memphis Pooplies. Okay. TikTok, if you guys have enjoyed the show, be sure to swing on into the Twitch stream. That is going to wrap it up for today. But we are still live on Twitch, TikTok, YouTube. Be sure to leave those streams and come through to the Twitch if you guys want to enjoy more. It's Jay-Z Uncut on Twitch. The link is in my bio. I appreciate everybody for watching. That's all we got for today's episode. It's almost an hour long. I appreciate everybody for tuning in, and I got nothing left to say, y'all, except for thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. And as always, guys, thank you for watching/listening. You guys know where to find me, 9 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday on Twitch, TikTok, and YouTube. Podcast listeners, be sure to leave a 5-star rating and review, and be sure to swing on into the Twitch stream. We appreciate all y'all. Have a blessed rest of your day. Catch you tomorrow.